Hello and welcome to the Capital Market on Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. I am Bolaji Akinwale. I'm glad you could join us on the program. We would just like to tell our viewers that any moment from now, we will hook up with the INEC headquarters in Abuja, where the Independent National Electoral Commission and resident commissioners are still meeting at the headquarters. There is a large number of both local and international journalists who are anxiously waiting to know whether the general elections will still go on as planned. There have been speculations that the polls scheduled for February the 14th and 28th will be postponed by about 6 weeks. Earlier, INEC had met with the registered political parties, and reports suggest that there were heated arguments over the issue. But any time from now, INEC boss Professor Attahiru Jega will address the world at a press briefing on the outcome of the meeting. So we're keeping our eyes on the development. Of course, immediately that begins, we will bring you the information, of course, get you posted about what's going on at INEC office in Abuja. And today on the program, we will be taking a look at the market performance for the week as usual. This includes price movements, issues of unclaimed dividend, which actually was brought to the fore during the week in terms of the billions of naira that are yet to be claimed by investors at the capital market, and of course the direction which the market may take for the coming week. My guest is Abel Ezekiel, a market analyst, who will be joining me shortly to take a look at the market development for the week. In the meantime, let's now look at the markets in review. Let's take a look at what happened during the week. The NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 1.43%. That's for the index, and 1.61% for the market capitalization. Now, the index closed on Friday at 29,985.05, and for the market capitalization, it closed at 10.005 trillion naira. Similarly, all indices, that sectoral indices, finished higher during the week, with the exception of the NSE Insurance Index and the NSE Oil and Gas Index that declined by 0.02% and 0.13%, while the NSE Alternative Securities Market Index closed flat. Now, talking about what happened still, the financial services industry measured by volume led the activity chart, with 1.523 billion shares recorded for that industry, valued at 11.231 billion naira, and all of these were traded in 14,695 deals. Now, trading in the top three equities, namely FBN Holdings, Access Bank, and Zenith Bank, accounted for 740.244 million shares, valued at over 6 billion naira. That's the equity, that's the three equities, FBN Holdings, Access Bank, and Zenith Bank, actually pulled 740.2 million units of shares. Now, talking about the index, let's take a look in details as to the sectoral performance. The NSE 30 index closed at 1,349.66 point. It was up 1.17%. We're looking at the banking index up 2.66%. The insurance index was flat, downside 0.02%. The consumer goods index upside 0.29%. The oil and gas index slipped 0.13% for the week. The Lotus Islamic index upside 2.61%. And the industrial goods index was up 4.06%. Quickly, let's take a look at the Guinness table in terms of the top price appreciators for the week. RT Briscoe led on the chart. It gained 21 kobo ahead of Dangote Flour Mills, which added 1 naira to its share price. We had USN Property gaining 2 naira 81 kobo. Ikeja Hotel 603 kobo. Champion Brewers 95 kobo. National Salt Company of Nigeria, that's NASCON, pulled 1 naira 5 kobo. Access Bank also gained during the week 82 kobo. NEM Insurance 6 kobo. Seplat added 28 naira 67 kobo to its share price, and Diamond Bank 32 kobo. On the flip side, let's take a look at the laggards table, the decliners table. Corn oil lost 3 naira 61 kobo. Vitafilm Nigeria 34 kobo. Vono Products 10 kobo. Flour Mills of Nigeria during the week lost 2 naira 85 kobo. Presco 2 naira 21 kobo. Eternal Oil PLC 15 kobo. Evans Medical 12 kobo. Union Bank of Nigeria 50 kobo. Transnationwide Express PLC 5 kobo, and Union Dye Consult PLC lost 69 kobo during the week. There were also some earnings that were released during the week. We had earnings from Restar Express, we had Academy Press, Flour Mills of Nigeria, Interlinked Technologies PLC, Vono Product, International Brewers, and Nemeth International Pharmaceuticals posted some earnings during the week. We'll be giving you insight into the development, of the week, as we will be joined shortly by Abel Ezekiel, our market analyst, who always comes to talk about the market for us on the show. Now, in the meantime, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll take you through a report which talks about the development around unclaimed dividends in the capital markets.
After years of slumber, Nigeria is on the move again. Our Greek sector is flourishing again. Transport systems are being upgraded. And young people are reaching heights they could previously only dream about. Now that we have reclaimed our place as Africa's largest economy, surely we are headed in the right direction. For this man under whose leadership these milestones have been achieved, it is only the beginning of bigger, life-changing things to come. Vote to finish what we've started, Nigeria. Vote Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in 2015 and live to see the Nigeria we always dreamed about.
You're welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the Capital Market on Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. And just to let our viewers know that any moment from now, we will be going live to the INEC headquarters in Abuja, where there is a meeting between the resident commissioners and the INEC boss, Professor Atahiru Jega, that is going on at the moment. And there is actually a large number of both local and international journalists who are waiting to know whether the elections scheduled for February the 14th and 28th will be moved by 6 weeks. Of course, there are speculations that that is the decision that may likely to be taken by the INEC boss and the resident commissioners. And there seems to be some kind of argument over whether that date should be shifted or should remain. We will be getting to know that very shortly, as we will be joining the meeting or the briefing by Professor Atahiru Jega in Abuja. You can see that on your television screen. We're waiting to know what decision will be taken by INEC boss, Professor Atahiru Jega, very shortly. And back to the issues at the capital markets. Let's take a look at what's going on in terms of unclaimed dividends. Of course, the pile of unclaimed dividends in Nigeria seems to be receiving renewed attention at the capital market from operators. Now, the latest is the proposal from the Securities and Exchange Commission to reduce the tenor of returning unclaimed dividends to issuers. Now, while the amendment awaits ratification, the investment community appears divided on these developments. Now, let's bring you this report as compiled by Temple Ashaju.
Unclaimed dividends is an age-long issue in the Nigerian capital market. As at the end of 2013, the value of dividends unclaimed stood at 50.94 billion naira, as millions of shareholders failed to claim the fund.
The most important thing to me personally is that dividends should be paid in full whenever they are declared. So, in other words, if we give out dividends 100% all the time, then there won't be any unclaimed dividends. So if we work from that answer backwards, then even the current pot of unclaimed dividends would basically literally disappear over time. Of course, there wouldn't be some issues of people not showing up, or maybe a person might be deceased, and the family doesn't have full records of the shareholding of the deceased, etc., etc.
We have classes of shareholders. There are some people that invest in this company, in this country, they are abroad. They don't even ask for their dividends. That dividend will stay with the registrar. There are some people that are already dead, and to claim their dividend becomes very difficult.
What the market needs to do is to ensure that every person who participates in this market gets their details passed on to the registrar for the purpose of e-dividend payment.
In a bid to address this issue, the current administration of the Securities and Exchange Commission proposes the return of unclaimed dividends to paying companies from 12 years to 12 months after the payout date. The amendment, which is also expected to be ratified by the National Assembly, states that unclaimed funds can be made available to shareholders 48 hours after request from issuers. Market operators seem divided on this rule.
I think 12 months is a little on the low side, even though taking the fact that provided we have all gotten our shareholders to be part of the e-dividend payment system.
12 months is even too long. It's even too long. 6 months would have been ideal. Actually, that proposal too is belated, but it's good that it's coming anyway.
The money belongs to the shareholders. The company as well belongs to the shareholders. So if eventually the money goes back to the company, used in running the company is also to the betterment of the shareholders.
When you look at other dividend, maybe from outside the country, the dollarized dividend, they are always undated. You take a sample of a ETI. Even if you remember to pay in your dividend after 6 years, it's still very valid because it doesn't go through central clearing as CBN. But all other dividends, they are like normal checks that goes through clearing. The workability of that, for now, I don't know.
Another contributory factor to the challenge of unclaimed dividends is the inability of banks and registrars to clear dividends into shareholders' savings accounts.
That issue of saying the unclaimed, the dividend warrant should not be presented for savings account. I think the central bank has already made pronouncements about that, and I believe that the banks are all complying with it.
I know that most banks, yes, they are yet to follow the train of allowing people to pay into savings accounts. But by and large, the main thing is that if you do not receive your dividend warrant, you cannot go to the bank.
The issue of unclaimed dividends is not the only concern in the market. A constant update of shareholders' profile with the registrars is also calling for a contemporary approach.
Of course, I want to see registrars being more visible. You find out that most of these shareholders, they don't even know who their registrars are. Let them also engage in a sensitization program, be more visible in the capital market, be more visible when it comes to relations with the shareholders. In their websites, let it be there that you can go to their website and actually update your bank details where subsequent dividend can be posted. You know, in a very way, they can go to social media, be it Facebook, be it any social media.
You have to be very careful. You have to do proper segmentation of the investors. The younger ones obviously will not have any issues because they already are savvy enough to reach out, you know, and make those changes electronically or with their banks or with their registrar and so on and so forth. If you actually look at the database of people who are majorly the majority in that unclaimed dividend box, majority of them may actually be elderly.
Suppose it is somebody breaks into that site and begins to change information and stuff like that. You know, I don't think it is something that you just make public because there's still a fiduciary relationship or fiduciary responsibility that the registrar has with the shareholder.
The proposal might be a bit of disadvantage to the registrar as the tenure of unclaimed dividends in their custody will be short-circuited from 12 years to just 12 months, but for the companies, it could help create more liquidity. From the Nigerian stock market, Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.